Welcome back to the Dallas Meetup Dime, where we get straight to the value in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, Carson Gibbons, and today I'm joined by the tournament director of Nexo Dallas Open, Mr. Peter Lebedevs. Peter.
Hey, Carson.
How are you, sir?
Very good.
Thank you for coming. Congrats on a successful tournament.
Thank you. It was really good. Our final was amazing with the number of people and the players in it. The team put on a great job.
It was my first time visiting the Ford Center, and it was really cool to see how it had been retrofitted for tennis. And is that the second year?
The second year at Ford Center, and it is amazing. We built that entire structure in 10 days. It's a crew from 24/7 for 10 days, and they're getting it out in 3.5. It's actually the slow-mo that we have of it. The time lapse is amazing.
I'll have to go look at that.
We'll
what are the top line? Obviously, Ben Shelton, grand champion on the singles side of things. What were the top line metrics that you as a tournament director are responsible for looking at from a success perspective?
You know, look, it's like anything. It's budgets of your revenues and keeping expenses under control. And with that kind of a final, the ticketing was very good. Having Nexo come on board as our title partner was a huge for the team, and pulling that together to give us that new name and identity. And then on top of that, it's just the fan experience, making sure that everybody there says, wow, I want to come back and do that. And then also the economic impact. We did a study with UNT, and it's at $53 million is our economic impact up there. So, you know, we're very proud of what we bring to there, as well as a sporting event that's fun, but how we help out the area as well, just on the economic side of things.
I want to circle back to the economic impact because I definitely wanted to ask you about that, but I'm more familiar with like the PGA Tour side of things, where a not-for-profit and these disparate funds come together and work with these corporate sponsors. And I feel like the Live Golf situation kind of opened our eyes as to how those leagues were structured. But I can't profess to know how professional tennis kind of works from an organizing perspective.
Professional tennis is different to golf. I mean, just about every golf tournament is run by a non-profit. And I think just about every tennis tournament is run by a for-profit organization. Now, there's always a lot of giving. You know, for us, it's the Isner Family Foundation, the Carroll Clinic, you know, Wounded Warrior, all of these partners we have. But at the end of the day, it is you know, we are a for-profit GF Sports Entertainment partner with the Dallas Cowboys to put together a financially responsible, is the way I look at it for me, is a budget that's successful. So it's a combination of all of those things, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's impacting the community, and that's what we do.
So Frisco saw $53 million of economic impact for hotels, parking, you know, food.
All of the above, yes, as UNT did a very deep dive. And we were excited. We did not know that until we actually did it, and it was amazing. We thought it was a little lower than that, so pleasantly surprised with what we did.
When you were initially scoping Dallas as a venue location for a tournament like this, were you taking competing bids from various cities or geos? Like, what did that process look like?
You know, for us, we were in New York, and then when COVID hit, we had to find a new city. And basically, I was traveling around the country looking for cities, looking for venues. And we were very close to another venue. We had 3 other cities. And then I got this in the back of my mind, remember a little discussion about Dallas. And so I called up Grant Chen and John Isner and said, you know, what are you thinking? I came down and stood on the 3rd floor of the Altex Steislinger building at SMU and said, I see it. And I didn't actually need to do the other 2 hours of the meeting. I got to call my director of ops and see if we can do it. And then once we got here, the history of professional tennis with WCT and Lamar Hunt, and that it started at Moody Coliseum, is absolutely amazing. So once we got here, the support from just the locals was amazing. Everywhere I went, there were stories of the good old days. So it was a home run for us to get here. But I was 2 days from sitting down with the board and recommending a different place. And so it just sort of came all together. And after a couple of successful years, we had the opportunity to upgrade to a 500. And the difference really, 250, 500, 1,000, that's the number of points the champion gets towards their ranking. Pretty simple formula, but there's only 16 of these 500s in the world. And our bid beat out 17 other bids from around the world for this. Yeah, so it's sort of, I think, between Dallas, which is the history of tennis, partnering with the Cowboys, and the ATP said that checks every box that we want. They gave us the upgrade and said, okay, hope you do it well. And knowing what we as GF Sports do and knowing what the Dallas Cowboys do, I think we're pretty successful year 1. A lot of learnings in year 1, and year 2, you know, much improved for the fan experience and also for our partners and the players. The players absolutely love it up there. That's what's most amazing.
How is it different from other venues that they're
Well, the Omni Hotel is connected to the venue. So they take an elevator and they walk.
Sports City USA.
Absolutely it is. I mean, we're part of that. But the players don't have to have any transportation. Mm-hmm. Once we pick them, the Altos pick them up and take them to the venue. And then that's it. Between the 17 restaurants in the Star District, the players walking there, they walk another 20 yards and they're on the 4 practice courts or the match courts. And then they get to eat in the Cowboys training room. So when you're in the training room and you're looking out over the turf field and the grass field, it's just inspirational for the guys. So the players are like, okay, this is better. Because, they're going to spend 30 minutes each way in a car going to the site. And then they've got to do all these things. Being like that, we're one of the only tournaments in the entire world that has that setup. So, we're very lucky to check all of those boxes for the players.
Frisco's done a great job with Sports City USA, and we just did our pro sports cohort at the Star in Frisco the day prior to the Nexo Dallas Open starting, and that's how we became acquainted. And it was just the venue location was synonymous with professional sports, and I found that all the professional teams and leagues that were in attendance walked there from their corporate offices, and we had half the Mavericks team that were in attendance, and they had to go downtown for the tip-off versus the Spurs, but it was just in their backyard of their office, so they could stop by. So it's going to be hard to replicate that, likeness with a venue, but interesting. You talked a little bit about the learnings from year 1 to year 2. Without, I guess, going over painful history, are you able to share any of those before and afters?
Look, it was when you build a stadium like this, things like sight lines. I know, nobody sort of thinks about that, but we absolutely had some challenges with sight lines. And we did a study right afterwards. We brought all the fans in, non-fans, partners, and we did a, interview. And so we took all of that feedback, and so we improved the sight lines for the fans. We built some on the courtside, the Nexo courtside seats, and we've got special glass built by the company that builds the whole arena just for us, because we wanted to get rid of when it's temporary, they have what we call jail rails, the bars like this in there, and we said, okay, we want that to be glass. So they did a ton of engineering to make it work. So, that's one of the things. And then the fan village out the front, which is open to the public. They liked it, but there wasn't enough to do. So we added a giant screen for the matches. So, if you're at any of those, corporate headquarters and want to just stop by that area, you can go in there, watch the tennis, grab a drink, grab some food. So really trying to improve that experience, not only for the people who walk in the door, but the people that are in that area. And then partnering with the Omni to have a few fun things going on there. Dow Wines at a ping pong table and brought a few players in there. Boss took over one of the restaurants, Monarch Stag, and had Taylor Fritz going in there. And so it's trying to really make sure that we encompassed everything in there. This is our biggest learnings. No real major issues from the learnings. Sightlines, as I'm sitting on the other side of that glass wall hearing the people talk about it, I was like, sort of hurt me. But we said, okay, we can fix that one. That's okay, we can fix that one.
Is there already a quick postmortem on this last one and things that you would like to improve, or?
Where we're putting it all together. The team that we have, and I have an amazing team. I'm front and center, but it's the people behind me that really get it all done. They're giving me the feedback right now, and the idea is first week, give me the feedback. 2 weeks later, we come back after the sort of the personal ones that you feel really bad about. Okay, was it really that bad? Not so bad. So, so it'll be about 3 weeks to a month before we really dive into the areas that we need to improve on. And most of it is, I'm looking at it a certain way and seeing it, oh gosh, it's got to be better. 90% of the people don't see that, but right. Those are the things that we'll do. But the team figured out ways to get things done. That's we call ourselves ducks on a pond. On top, we look nice and calm, but underneath, our feet are going. We're just doing crazy stuff. You're
your own worst critic in these situations, and you're the closest to it as well. Does the team that's dedicated to Nexo Dallas Open, now that everything is Choctaw tents getting unpacked and rolled up, what do you guys do for the next year leading up to the next one? Like, is this a year-long endeavor?
Absolutely. It's getting our name out there, creating events to keep us front and center, whether it be a French Open watch party, a Wimbledon watch party. We do some of those things. We're all making plans. I was speaking to agents during the Australian Open this year in January for 27. And I'll be going out to Indian Wells to meet with them. So our team is really doing a full year plan on getting that done. So the sales team is meeting up with all of the clients they had come in and say, okay, now you've seen it, let's talk about it. So it is a full-time process, but starting October, that's when it just ramps up, and we bring in the interns, we bring in our independent contractors as well to help us out. But believe me, there's still a ton of stuff to do.
Next year, it will be at the Ford Center again?
Correct.
Okay. What is your ask of our community? Like, how can we get better involved from an interning perspective, corporate sponsor perspective? How can we get more involved? And also, if this is just the first year or two that this has been happening, like how much of this is just the compounding reputational value of it becoming tradition in this market? And year 10 looks completely different than year 1.
Look, I think you're absolutely right. You know, as I said in the closing speech, year 1, thank you for those people that closed their eyes and trusted us at Ford Center, because it was all off renderings. This is what we think it's going to look like. You know, this year already, partners have said, I love the Comfort Loge area. I love the Frisco Social. I want to have naming rights. So for us, it's spreading the word to get the fans in there early on in the week. I mean, the finals always has a good crowd, but we want to see early on in the week, we want to create those opportunities and connect with the community on areas that we may not know about to have more fans come out during the week. And then from a corporate side, obviously we want to have as many partners come on board and see the value, because we go to over 120 countries around the world. Tennis has that unique opportunity. So you really, you know, as a global company, which Nexo is, and that's why it's such a great fit for them. Not only do they hit the Dallas market, which they want to, but they get that global exposure, and that makes a big difference. So we're trying to find those companies that can see that, and we'd love them to reach out to us as well. And my sales team is reaching out to everybody. They're very diligent, is the way I like to say it. But you know, there are times we don't know that these companies are there, and our junior salesperson Hallie was the one that got Nexo, and it was
really?
The story of her, the way she just sort of, as I like to say, was pleasantly persistent, finding the right person at Nexo to get in front of. She did a great job, and that's what we want to have, maybe help a little bit more help them coming to us and say, hey, we see this, we want to be a part of it.
Hallie's a perfect asset for the team in these first formative years, because she's brokered everything from a Dallas Meetup perspective with Nexo, and we actually got to go out and experience the tent and the premium seats and share a little bit more storytelling about discounted tickets for the community. And so glad that she set up this interview with you today. Congrats on a successful year 2, and looking forward to many more.
Yeah, so we're very excited, and the buzz is great, and it's all of us making it better for everybody, and especially making sure the fans get out there and have a great time.
Absolutely. Peter, thank you so much.
Carson, thank you.